Hi, happy Saturday, or whatever day it is for you when you're watching this. My name is Shania, and if you're new to this channel and this environment, I have lots of sewing tutorials on my channel, and some of the tutorials are from things that I've made from scratch. So from start to finish, from fabric to finish. And then I have other tutorials where I take something that is already made and I just kind of chop and screw it to create something new. So like an upcycle, basically. Um, so today is my Saturday streaming sewing sessions, and usually on Saturdays I like to live stream a sewing project that I'm working on. And it's really supposed to be like an open forum where or like a work session, I guess you could say, where I'm, working on my project and you're at home or wherever you are working on your project, and we're just kind of like virtually working together, if that makes sense, right? Which is super exciting. I'm so excited. Okay, so for today, I'm going to be making a bucket hat, and I'm just going to be this time is just going to be to make the pattern for the bucket hat. I don't know if I'll have enough time to actually transfer the pattern onto the fabric and then, show you guys how to make it. So for today, we'll just be making the pattern for a bucket hat. And I really wanted to do this because I was looking up and down, left and right on the internet trying to find a tutorial on how to make the pattern. And most of the sewing tutorials on bucket hats, or on a bucket hat, already has a pattern. So people are either using a pattern they found online, or they are referring to their own pattern that they made and they want you to like download it from somewhere or pay for it. So I really wanted to make this video to show you how you can make a bucket hat for yourself using your own measurements, so that it's really customized and tailored to fit your head, your hair, your everything. And then just for full transparency, I am going to be referring to a tutorial. So you'll probably like see and hear me kind of stopping and watching the video, just kind of getting the instructions. So me showing you this tutorial is inspired by another tutorial, and once I post my tutorial, I'm going to put my own touch on it. You guys probably know that I'm super into details, so my tutorial is going to have some arrows and some captions and zoom in and all that stuff. So anyway, this is a lot of chatty patty going on, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna be starting with some pattern paper here, my classic pattern paper that I like to use. I don't know how much of it I'm going to need, but my guess is, I don't know, it shouldn't be more than this. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and cut it. Okay, so this is, I feel like the lighting looks a little dark, but it's okay. Okay, so this is the pattern paper here. I'm going to measure it just so you guys know like how much I'm starting with. So my pattern paper is about 18 inches long, and then it is like, I'm gonna overestimate and say 18 inches wide, so it's almost a full square. I feel like you guys are not, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure you guys are seeing the full thing. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure everything is in the shot. Okay. So the first thing that I need to do that I remember from the tutorial from the top of my head is I'm going to go ahead and take the circumference of my head. And it's great that my hair is out like this because then I know that it's going to fit. So I'm literally going to show you going back around. And oof, it's my eye. Okay. And then I am, let's see, so much hair. I'm actually going to the hairdresser today, so I'm going to be getting this bad boy trimmed. You probably can't, I don't know if you can see, but the tape is somewhere here. Not sure if you can see it, but it's here. I'm not pulling too tight. And my measurement for my head is, boom, boom, boom. Can't really see. Okay, it looks like it's 24.5. Okay, 24.5. So now I'm going to write that down so that I don't forget. Just go back over here. Okay, so I'm going to write it down. 24.5. We're actually going to write it on the side. Okay, so total circumference is 24.5 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to erase it from here. Did you guys ever have these big jumbo erasers when you were in school? Remember these? They're great. All right, so I have my total circumference. The next thing that I need to do is I need to take this total circumference and I need to divide it by 6.8. So I'm going to get a calculator and I'm going to do 24.5 divided by 6.8 equals 3.6. So let me just 3.6. Okay. Now let's see. Let me see what she said I gotta do after that. Let's see. Okay, so then the next thing she did was, let me just fix this here because it just flattened it. Okay, so the next thing she did was she took her piece of paper and she folded it into 4 squares. So let me go overhead. All right, so I'm going to take my sheet of paper and I'm going to fold it into 4 squares. And I think the purpose of this is so that you can start creating the circle for your hat, the top part of the hat. So fold it once, and then I folded it twice, and then I folded it a second time. All right, so now we have a square of paper. So then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 3.6 measurement and I'm going to make a circle that is 3.6. So there's 2 ways to do this. One way is you can take your ruler and starting at this point, you're going to measure 3.6 and mark it off. So this is 3.5. I think 3.6 is the next couple 2. Okay. And then literally you would just keep pivoting your ruler. So making sure that the point of the ruler is always marked up with here. And then just aim to get a mark next to this. That's 3.6 as well. So we'll be here. And then you literally would just keep pivoting your ruler. So then 3.6 again is here. And then I'm going to show you guys 2 ways to do this. So this is like the manual way. And you literally just keep ticking and ticking. Okay. And you're literally going to keep ticking until you reach that bottom edge of the folded paper. Okay. So I'm getting pretty close. Right, and you can see that the dots are starting to form the circle. So I got one more tick and I should be done. Okay, and then what you would do is you would connect the dots to form a circle, like so, like that. Okay, so you see we're connecting the dots, and this is going to be a quarter of our circle for the top of our hat, right? So that's the manual way to do it. Now I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to show you guys the autonomous way to do it. And it works if you have a protractor or a ruler exactly like this. So don't know if you have a ruler like this, you should notice that there are little holes in this ruler that you can kind of like you can stick things through. So I'm just going to show you, like, for example, you see I'm sticking this needle through the hole. There's a bunch of holes in here. So what you can do if you have a ruler like this, you can use it as a protractor. So what you would do is you would start by lining up the edge of your ruler to the point. Wait, I want to say one other thing too, actually, very important. So make sure that when you are making your circle that it's aligned with the folded part of the fabric. So when you have the folded part of the paper. Because when you have your paper, you're going to have an edge that's open like this, and you're going to have the edge that has like the actual fold. So you want to make sure that your circle is along the folded area. So now if you have a ruler like this, what you're going to do is you're going to so you could start with this bottom edge and you're going to measure and mark your calculation. So that for me is 3.6, which is here. And I'm going to make a mark right here. Right? And if you want, you can go ahead and make a mark above this just for leverage, 3.6. So maybe like right here. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take this hole, so the first hole, and you're going to line it up just on top of the mark, one of the marks that you made. Doesn't matter which one, right? And then you're going to take something pointy, so like a tweezer or something, and you're going to use it to hold down the ruler. So I'm going to put the tweezer in the hole, in another hole. And then I'm going to take my pencil and make sure that it's straight. So taking my pencil and putting it right on top of the mark and putting the tweezer in the other hole. And I'm literally, and actually I need to put something down on my fabric. So, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to put something down on my fabric. me start over. Okay, so putting down something on my fabric, on my paper. Then I'm going to take my pencil and put it through the hole, and put it on top of one of the marks, like so. And then I'm going to take a tweezer and stick it through the other side of the hole. And I'm literally going to just move it in the direction of a circle. And this is how you would get, ooh, I'm stuck because there's a bottle here. Okay, and this is how you would get your circle. And I have something on the side. You guys can't see. I have a water bottle on the side, so that's kind of what interrupted my the flow of my circle. But let's just redo it. Okay, here, right? Okay. And there you see, you have your circle. And if you were to take your ruler and you measure, ooh, it did not pan out. Hold on, I want you guys to see me. It did not pan out. So I think so the objective was you're supposed to be able to measure along the circle and connect it to this corner point and get 3.6 all around. But I think because I had something on the side here, I had a water bottle here that was preventing my ruler from fully turning, you see, because I have something on the side. It kind of just messed up the circle. So maybe I'm not going to include that in the tutorial. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to include it in the full tutorial. But instead, let me just erase this. But that's usually it works. It works if you don't have, like, if your workspace is completely clear of objects, it will work. But because I shifted my ruler and my pencil and I took it off the paper and like, no ma'am. Oh no. So we'll forget about that. Forget about that. This is full transparency. This is the stuff that happens in the background, you know. So let's stick with this. So you have your quarter circle, and I'm going to put no seam allowance included. And I'm going to label it top. So this is the top part of my hat. And I'm literally just going to cut along this circle. I'm sorry that that little ruler trick didn't work out as well. I was hoping to show you guys a new way, but that way has worked for me in the past. Again, it's really important to have a clear workspace when you're doing that technique. Okay, so here we have the top of the pattern, and now when you open it, you see you have a full circle. So this is going to be the top part of my hat, which seems kind of small, but it makes sense because the brim is going to be like wider. So now I'm going to get another piece of, or I might be able to use the bottom of this. I'm going to use the bottom of, clear the space. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. And now I like to use as much as what I have. I don't want to just be wasteful. So I'm going to use the bottom part of this to create the pattern for the side of my hat. So let's see how she does that. Okay, so the next thing is to create a rectangle for the body of the hat. So what I have to do is I have to measure this circle, which in theory, I want to try this out. The next thing to do is to measure the full circle or half of the circle. So because this is folded, I can see where the half is. So just half. If I did the math right, half of this circle should be, let's see, half of the circle should be 24.5, which is my circumference around my head, divided by 2, should be 12.25. So let's see if I did this right. 12.25. Okay. So I'm just going to flip it inside so that I can see. Okay. At 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 8. Oh, this is difficult. 9, 10, 11. So I'm getting 11.5, but I think it's also because this is shifted. So let me put down a paper weight, and then let me do it again. So 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I'm still getting 11.5, but let's see. This is kind of difficult. I wonder, maybe if I took a piece of string and taped it, because the measuring tape is not staying all that flat. Okay. Yeah, I'm still getting 11.5, so I'm going to go with that. Because 12.5, if I put it 12.5, it would be like this. Right, that's 12.5. So I'm going to trust her instructions. And so half of my circle is 11.5. So I'm going to write it down. Half circle equals 11.5. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a rectangle that has the width of, so a rectangle with the width of that measurement that I just got, which was 11.5. And then the standard length is 3. Or if you want to make it a little higher, it would be 4. So let's see. I'm going to do 11.5. Actually, I'm going to do it like up here. Okay, so 11.5 is here. And what I like to do is I like to just square off the side of the ruler. And this is 2 inches wide, so I'm just going to go down all the way. Okay. And the reason why I do that is because then when I bring this ruler down, I know that it's going to be straight. It's going to be parallel with the side and the top edge of the ruler. So this is 2 inches, and I'm going to make it a standard of 3. So measuring 1, 2 inches, and then the 3-inch would be here. Okay. Then I'm going to line up the edge of my ruler with that line and just draw a straight rectangle. Stopping at 11.5, and then I'm just going to close up the rectangle. Okay. So now let's see what's next. I decided to make my rectangle 3 inches, but this is based on your preference. Now I'll just go ahead and cut out the rectangle. I'm just folding to create straight lines because we'll need to go in and slash through to spread one end of that rectangle. So now okay, so the next thing we need to do is the slash and spread method. So what she does now is she cuts this rectangle out. So we're going to cut it out. You guys can't see me cutting it. Okay. Cutting it out. It's so weird to use scissors because I'm so used to using my rotary cutter because I usually have my mat down on this table, my green mat, if any of you guys are familiar with me. I usually have it. So this like cutting seems so manual to me. Like by now I would have probably been done cutting this out if I had my rotary cutter. If you've been considering getting a rotary cutter and a mat for your sewing practice, you definitely should because it definitely makes things quicker and it's like less work. It's less physical work when you have a rotary cutter. And you know how people say work smarter, not harder? Like that's like the perfect example, a rotary cutter and a mat. It's like a little expensive. The mat is expensive, especially the bigger size you get, but it's definitely an investment. And if you're making, if you're sewing for profit, whether that's for a YouTube channel or you're selling the things that you sew, like you'll definitely make back the money that you spend on the mat. Okay, so I'm just going to put this aside for now. And then the next thing that she did was she took the rectangle and she folded it in half twice. So fold it in half once. And just make sure that the crease is prominent. Okay, and then fold it in half again. Okay, and then we're gonna open it up and you'll see that you have 3 marks, right? This is from before, so disregard that, but you'll have your 3 lines, and you're going to cut through the lines, but you're not going to cut all the way to the end. So you're going to stop. I'm just going to make a little mark so you guys can see. I'm going to make a little notch at the top of the 3 lines. And you're literally going to stop when you get at the bottom of those 3 marks. Take your time. Don't rush. It's like a moment of anxiety because it's like you gotta really be gentle. Whoop. Okay, did it. All right, repeat. All right. I feel like I could go a little higher with that. Okay. So you see now that we're slashing along the lines, the folded lines, or the folded creases, you can see that the paper is starting to spread. So this is, my friends, the slash and spread method, where you expand a pattern. So you see here it's naturally spread. So now the next thing that she did was she took her pattern paper and she put the pattern on top. And now you want to separate, so you want to separate these. I think she did it by 3/8, but let's see. So now I'm just adding 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so I'm gonna grab some tape. 1 second. Okay, so she separated the opening by 1/8 of an inch. So in my actual tutorial, I'm gonna show you guys what 1/8 of an inch looks like on the ruler. But think that the halfway point is 4/8. I think 4/8. So then the tick next to it would be 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. Nope, that doesn't seem right. But wait a minute, how many ticks does this have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, got it. Okay, so the halfway point is 8/8. If you have a ruler like this, is 8/8. And she already forgot what she said, how much she said. I think she said. So now I'm just adding 1/8 of an inch in between each slash line. So now I'm just adding 1/8 of an inch in between each slash line. 1/8? Hold on a minute. What is 1/8 in a decimal? 1 divided by 8. I don't know what that means. I'm terrible at math. Okay, so let me just see. I'm gonna see if I can Google 1/8 inch on a ruler. 1/8 of an inch on a ruler. What does that look like? Ooh, okay, excellent. I just found a really helpful diagram, so I'll definitely be sharing it in the tutorial. So basically, we know, everybody knows that this is the 1/2 inch, right? And then half of a 1/2 inch is 1/8. No, that's a lie. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this is a 1/2 inch. Half of a 1/2 inch is a 1/4 inch. So this right here is a 1/4. And then half of a 1/4 is an 1/8. So it's literally this right here. So she didn't spread it at all by much, which is weird because I don't know. That seems a little weird. Let's see how it looks. So 1/8 of an inch is basically the third tick from the edge of the ruler. So let's say this was the edge. I feel like this is weird. So let's say this is the edge. Then it's like 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's the second from the edge. Okay, so, all right, so let's see how that goes. Because I feel like from here to here. That's not right. That's not right. That can't be right, because when you do it that way, it overlaps 1/8 of an inch. I don't think that's right. I think she either said the wrong thing, or maybe it's that it's supposed to overlap. Let me see if I can zoom in to see. So it depends on how wide you want your hat to be. But bear in mind that this is half of the hat. So whatever measurement you get here must bear in mind too. So don't make it too wide. Now I'm going ahead to add my seam allowance round. It's weird because it does look like it's 1/8. Like, it's very thin, but I don't see any overlap. So if it was like here, okay, here. But it's so silly, because it's like, what's the point in slashing and spreading if you're literally spreading this much? What is the point? So I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to make an executive decision here, and I'm going to make it wider. I'm going to spread by 1/4 of an inch. Maybe that's what she meant, 1/4 of an inch. But even that's like not much. So I'm going to do a 1/2 inch. Yeah, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch. My brim is probably going to come out big, but whatever. Not brim, but base. Okay. So executive decision is that I'm going to open up the flaps and separate them with a 1/2 inch space in between. So I'm going to start by taping down one flap. I don't really understand that. Like, how are you slashing and spreading by 1/8 of an inch? Like, you might as well not slash and spread it, because it's not a whole lot at all. But anyways, I'm taping down this flap. I'm going to tape down both sides of it. And then I'm going to measure from the bottom of this flap. I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch and make a mark there. And then I know that this bottom edge of this needs to line up with that mark. So, and I just want to clean this up because it looks really messy. Okay. And I'm going to make it darker. Okay. So then line it up the bottom of this edge here, and just making sure that this is flat. Okay. So it's not that the bottom of it has to be there. It's like the side needs to line up with it. And then tape it down. Okay. Damn it. I'm going to need another sheet. Why? Okay. Damn it. Do I start over? Okay, I'm gonna you guys, this is like, if anybody's watching, this is so real right now. Like, this is the stuff I go through when, like, this is the stuff that doesn't get included in my videos that I go through. And this is what happens when you're not a, like, trained seamstress or trained pattern makers. Like, I'm learning stuff from the internet, or I'm learning things from eyeballing it or just trying it. And with that is like a lot of trial and error. Like, you know, it's definitely a risk of like not getting stuff right the first time. And I'm learning to like be patient with myself and like be gentle with myself and accept it as part of the process, and accommodate, like, and make room for it. So like, okay, I know I'm going to edit it. I know I'm going to record a video. Instead of giving myself an hour, let me give myself like 2 hours or 2.5 hours to really realistically like accommodate space for errors and stuff. So, and then I'm kind of OCD with some stuff, so I like will literally like I want to redo this whole square if I must be honest. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna take a new sheet of fabric. I keep saying fabric. A new sheet of pattern paper. Because I didn't have enough space to slash and spread. Okay. I only have 15 minutes left because I have to go out. Okay, so now I have my squares. And I'm going to try to center them so that I have space underneath. Okay, so I'm going to start by taping down the first square. So, tipping it down. Okay, and then from that first square, I'm going to measure and mark a 1/2 inch. And we want the side of this second square to line up with this. So not the bottom, but anywhere along the side of that square. So I'm just going to do this. And you want to make sure that this top part is also flat, like it's laying as flat as possible. Okay? You see that the side lines up. Okay, and then I'm going to tape it down like that. Okay, and then from this second square edge, I'm going to measure and mark a 1/2 inch. Same thing, the side of this square, any point along this edge needs to line up with this mark. And again, we're making sure that the top part is flat. So that looks good to me. And then we're going to tape it down. Eee. Okay. And just make sure that this is flat. Okay. Actually, it looks... Okay, cool. And then from this area, I'm going to measure and mark a 1/2 inch. Okay. And then lining up this edge like so. So you see it's starting to become more flat. Okay. And then I'm just going to tape that down just for like, just to make sure it doesn't go out of bounds. Okay. And then the next thing she did was she just traced the top, the side, the bottom, and the other side of this. And then, so the areas where you have the gap, you would just kind of connect it. You can do that while you're tracing, or you can do it after and then just fill in the gap. So I'm going to show you what it looks like with the gap there. I'm like kind of curious to watch some other tutorials to see how they did this part, because I'm really surprised by how little space she left between the slashes. It seems weird. Like, is the objective to overlap or not? Okay, So what you could do is you could take this off, but what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to cut around it. So I'm just going to connect these gaps here, and I'm going to fully tape down this a little more so that there's no like, everything's flat. Oh no, okay. I know people like to take it off, but like, why? I'm not going to do anything else with it, so I might as well just keep it. Okay. Okay. Y'all, I'm so excited for brunch. I'm supposed to go to brunch with a friend of mine, and like, I can't wait. Just gonna lay this down so it's flat. Okay, there we go. All right, so then I'm gonna title this pattern, and I think it's the side. I think. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna title it body. Sorry, body. Excuse me. Okay, so this is the body of the hat. And I think we're gonna need to cut 4 of these. And I'm gonna put seam allowance not included. Okay, and then I'm just gonna cut around this. We got one more pattern to make and we'll be done. And that should be enough time for me to get out of here and make it to my destination. I'm like really excited to try this on fabric. I once had a teacher, this is now that I just crumbled that paper, true story. I once had a teacher who, like, I can't remember if it was a man or a woman. I feel like it was a man. I don't remember. But in this teacher's class, we could not crumple paper. Like, the teacher just did not like the sound of crumpled paper. And, like, if you crumpled paper, you'd get, I don't know how to say it, like a mark towards detention. So like if you crumbled paper a certain number of times, you could get detention for it. And every time that I crumple paper, I think about that teacher and I'm like, oh, like I would be in so much trouble right now. But okay, so we have the top of our hat and we have the body of our hat. So I think for this we would need 2. I might go back and fix that, but okay. So now we need another sheet of paper. I'm not gonna, okay. So close, we're almost there, y'all. If anybody's even watching. What was it? Okay, so we're basically literally, well, no, not really, because, okay, so now to make our brim, we're going to measure this pattern, and I'm going to use my measuring tape to do that. And so this pattern is, I'm going to measure like the bottom, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you might need to pivot your tape. Okay, let's keep it flat. Weave a, okay, so let's see, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9.5, 10.5, okay, 12. Ugh. Okay, so I'm just going to round it up and say 13.25. 13.25. Okay, 13.25 brim. Okay, so now with that measurement, I'm going to make another rectangle, and the width of the rectangle is going to be that measurement that I just got, which is 13.25. And I'm going to 13.25. Right. So 13.25. And again, I'm going to just square off this ruler for accuracy purposes. And then I'm going to make the length of this 3 inches as well. If you want a wider brim, you can make it longer, but I think the standard is 3 inches. So I'm going to come down 3 inches along this line. All right. And then I'm just going to extend this line so that it is 13.25 inches. Again, making sure that this edge is parallel to this line. Okay. $13.25. Here we go. Okay. And then I'm just going to close the rectangle off. Okay. So I think she slash and spreads this one too, I think. Okay, so let's see. Now I'm just going ahead to cut out my rectangle. Next, I'm going to fold it to create straight lines, just like we did for the body of the hat. And I created 4 straight lines. Then I'm just going ahead to roll out so I can slash the line. At this point, I decided I don't wanted more straight lines, so I went ahead and folded it to get 8 lines. Now I'm just going to slash my line so I can spread my rectangle. Okay, so the next thing she did was she cut out the rectangle. I'm starving! I don't even know what I'm going to get. I definitely think I want to get some collard greens. So the place we're going to is Southern style food. Definitely think I want to get some collard greens. I was thinking of like some eggs too. I know my friend said that she wanted to get something with egg. So I don't know. collard greens, and something else. I kind of have some mac and cheese on my brain. But then I'm also like, ooh, a burger? Ooh. And it's weird because usually I am a sweet over savory type of person. But today I'm like, I want the savory. Give me the savory. But even if I have savory stuff, like I need something sweet after. Which I heard somewhere that that's not a good thing when your body is like craving sweet after salt. It's not good. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna stay on the savory side of stuff for brunch. Ow. Ooh. Okay, so the next thing she did was she took the rectangle and she folded it 4 times. So folded it in half 4 times. So one, well, I'm lying. She actually did it twice, but she ended up going back over it. So 1, 2. I wonder if I could get away with just 3. 3. I think 3 might suffice. Because how many? I just want to see how many that's going to leave us with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay, so 3 times is what she did. Okay, so fold it 3 times. And then after the 3rd time you fold it, then you open it up and you'll have 8 lines. And then same thing, I'm just going to mark the edge so that I know not to cut all the way through. Just going to stop at the edge of the mark or the bottom of the mark. What time is it? Oh my gosh, it's 11. I have to go. Okay, and I'm literally going to cut through these lines and stop at the bottom of those little points. Ugh, I have to go, but I'm like, I don't want to record later because I feel like it's just going to be different. Like the lighting and the positioning of the camera and all that, but I think maybe if I just step away from the table as is and literally just come back and pick up, I think it might be okay. So I'm going to do that because I don't want to be late. Gentle, gentle. Eee. Did it. Okay, I'm just going to finish cutting through these lines and then I'm going to sign off. And you guys, you'll see the rest of the tutorial with the full instructions and, you know, things sped up. And less of me being a chatty patty. And diagrams and stuff like that. Okay. Okay. So we have our pieces here, our 8 pieces, and we literally are going to just spread them out and then trace them onto a new sheet of paper, and that will be our pattern for our brim. So yeah, that's when I come back. Let me just go full frontal. So that's it for the tutorial. Well, that's it for the sewing session. Thank you so much for joining me. And I just want to say for full transparency that I am not perfect. I am learning things. And a lot of the times when I make tutorials, it's based on my interpretation of what I found on the internet and what I found to be helpful. So, you know, you see in this live stream that there was a lot of me like kind of going back and forth or kind of double checking things. And this is the truth and the reality of what happens in the background when I'm making videos for you guys. So I love to be transparent with you all, and I love to show you guys that I'm human. I'm not perfect, and we're on this journey together. So I thank you so much for being patient with me and for supporting and just tuning in. And I hope that you'll check out my other videos, and I hope to see you in the next Saturday sewing session. Ciao.